Oh, just having fun recording the film section podcast. This is really bad, but so Mark, what are we talking about today?
Still waiting for Corey.
Oh shit! All right then.
All right, it was like the scene in The Strangers where like the record player starts playing something, but you can't do anything about it. Quicksilver girl, Quicksilver girl. It was like that because that's like what the notification kind of sounds like on there. And I was clicking on it. It said incoming call from Mark, and it just wasn't letting me on. So sorry about that. I apologize for my
You're
phone.
here now.
My phone's 4 years old. That's like 86 in phone years, I think.
Yeah, phones have like dog ears. Yeah,
They do it on purpose too. Like
yeah, absolutely.
I'm 99.9% convinced that the fact that the phone jack in my phone doesn't work anymore, the little like thing you can plug physical headphones into, that doesn't work anymore just because Wi-Fi headphones were going to be a thing. So
Yeah, mine doesn't, and
like a conspiracy theory, but
sometimes my charging port acts crazy too, and my phone is like 3 years
your
old.
phone just randomly suggests, "Hey, Chris, maybe get one of those contactless ones." It's like
maybe get one of those phones where coming out in 10 years you never have to charge it.
It becomes the computer from
It costs
$30,000.
$30,000.
Yeah. Who needs a phone jack, Chris?
Not me. Shit. Apparently.
So what's the topic again for today?
Oh shit! I wasn't the only one.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Yes.
So
the best
like
movie
literally
of the fucking year.
What is Mark? You know what the best response would have been? Like, what isn't the fucking topic for today?
Yeah, right.
I don't think.
All right.
I think that we're gonna make it all the way to the end of 2022, and this being my favorite movie of the year is not gonna change.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I
especially with the fact that now they're making movies, and then when they're about to release them, they're just like, no more movies.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking mad at Warner Brothers. Like, I'm so fucking.
These aren't the movies you're looking for.
You know why they canceled it too? Like, you know why they canceled the fucking movie?
Why?
For a fucking tax write-off.
Yeah, they canceled.
Which one? Didn't they? Didn't they cancel a whole handful?
Yeah, they're getting rid of a bunch of original content on HBO Max. Their HBO Max might just be going away because of the merger with Discovery, so it might. Yeah, because everyone wants to see the Batman, and then right afterwards watch My 600-Pound Life.
Hey, maybe they want to watch.
What exactly is getting rid of though?
It's like, still not for sure yet. Max. It's still not for sure.
I know Batgirl is, but
no, but it's like so when Discovery bought Warner Brothers, there's a lot of legal,
that happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of legal shit that was like, kind of slowly happening, and so now, since the merger has finally gone through, David Zaslav, who's the CEO of Discovery, who bought Warner Brothers, is basically going through and clearing house. And he's like, all DC movies have to be theatrical. all, the streaming content, like we're not making any money off the streaming content, so all original content is just what the fuck, who cares? Um, yeah, it's fucking stupid and it makes me so mad. And then I read today that like they have a 10-year plan for their DC property similar to Marvel, which like yeah, 10 years ago you guys did this. Tried to copy Marvel's strategy and guess what? We ended up getting Joss Whedon's Justice League and it sucked. Everything was rushed. Don't try and copy another studio's strategy. It doesn't work. Warner
There
Brothers
was
doesn't
no
have a
heart
Kevin
behind it.
Feige. Like Kevin Feige is why
Well,
Marvel
yeah.
works. DC has been through so much
But,
shit, doesn't know what they're doing. Like it's a total
yo, for real, for real, I gotta say, like, I get at the end of the day, for both Marvel and DC, both their movie companies, it's all about money. Okay,
oh
fine.
yeah.
But here's the thing though. Kevin Feige gets what makes a good movie though.
Well,
You
he's
know
a
what I mean?
fan
Like
of
he
Marvel.
gets like this he doesn't just like rush out shit because everything like at least 90% of what DC, aside from ironically enough what it's pushed out in the last couple of years, has been just kind of forgettable trash. Like I thought Shazam was really good. I thought the Suicide Squad was really good, and I thought Peacemaker was like really good,
Yeah.
and even like elements of the Suicide Squad movie that came out 6 or 7, however fucking long ago that was.
Years
It
ago, yeah.
it's not a good movie, but it had elements where it's like, okay, this could have worked in a better movie.
But
Uh,
it's a
but
thing
it,
of like Kevin Feige. The reason why Marvel works is because Kevin Feige is a fan of Marvel.
yeah,
Like he's a huge comic book nerd. He loves comic books. He knows so much about the Marvel properties that having him in charge of Marvel is why it succeeds because you have someone who's the studio loves the money. Kevin Feige loves the material. You know,
yeah.
you need someone at Warner Brothers and DC who is just as passionate about DC properties, and they don't have that. All they are caring about is their money, which is why DC has been kind of a laughing stock. And you said, the last couple of years, their content has been a little bit better. But think about this: their best movies have been the ones that aren't connected. The Batman was great. Joker was great. The Suicide Squad is sort of connected to that world, but like not really. It's like a soft reboot. So it's like all of these
The
one-off
best
properties.
connected one, the best seriously connected one though is probably if for in terms of like a whole family event is Shazam. And
Yeah,
even that's just okay, it was fun, but it essentially just big with a superhero or like Tom Hanks is
It's
big with a
it's okay.
superhero.
It's about to get
That's not
serious.
anything like yeah, it's not anything like groundbreaking like cuz
It's
like
about to
when
get serious with Black Adam.
I mean that could be good. I mean, I'm
Well,
not
that
gonna shit on it.
that ties in.
Aquaman, dude, the first Aquaman movie was fun.
well,
Uh,
you
I mean, not much else, but it was fun.
Well,
you know what also what
Yeah,
Black Adam ties into Shazam. So
yeah. But
yeah.
what
I
also
mean,
pisses
it's
me off about them scrapping Batgirl, um, aside from the fact that they flushed $90 million down the toilet, aside from the fact that Warner Brothers claims that they're all for the filmmakers, yet they completely fucked over the filmmakers, is the fact that you had Leslie Grace, who's an up and coming actress, who, if you've never seen In the Heights, is amazing. She's incredible. I have no doubt that she would have killed it. It would have been Brendan Fraser's, kind of back into live action roles where, it's actually him, not like in Doom Patrol where he's doing voiceover, but, um,
yeah,
it
that pissed
was
me off
the
too.
two directors were the two guys that directed the newest Bad Boys movie. They directed a couple episodes of Miss Marvel, and that movie gets scrapped. Yet The Flash, that has a literal fucking groomer monster in the lead role is still coming out.
Has literally The Exorcist in it.
Like literally has like one of the worst.
Holy fuck! When did he become possessed?
Aquaman 2, where there's still no word whether or not the bed shitter is still in that movie. Those two movies.
No.
That's how. Yo, that's her.
They-
That's her
I guess-
climactic. That's her climactic death scene. She's like taking a shit on.
Yeah,
the
she
Black
dies and just
Manta's
voids
bed
her
and, like,
bowels
like
on the
bomb
bed.
going off.
I guess they're cutting her out.
Get out of here,
cutting her out of
Aquaman.
the movie. They're cutting her out of the movie. I know that. The Flash. I don't even know. I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that, honestly.
It's still
And they
coming
can't
out.
like they can't reshoot.
Yeah, it's still coming out, dude.
It's still
Dude, they
coming
haven't
out. It's
said
been
anything
announced.
about
It
it.
is still coming out in
no.
theaters.
Same thing with Amber Heard.
Well, they definitely told that dude to fuck off. I don't know why it took so long, but
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not going to be in anything else, obviously, but the fact that The Flash is done, and the reason why they're still going to release it is really because the movie is done filming.
yeah, he's not like a
Batgirl
side.
was
He's not
done
like a side
filming.
character. They can't really like.
Mhm.
Oh, this guy shows up a few times. Like he is the
Yeah.
movie, so I guess they can't really reshoot it. Like they have to do what they have to do. I guess.
Yeah,
You
so
watch they make another. Watch they make another Kevin or Michael Keaton Batman movie, and he has to put him down in the first scene. It's like, sorry, Flash, you've gone too nuts. Can't be
but
choking women.
yeah, so it just for right now, it's kind of fuck
mean-
Warner Brothers. But let's talk about
Oh yeah.
Dude. Do not let Ezra Miller out of any of the blame here, because a lot of it's him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so
stuck
everything
anyway.
all at once.
Yeah.
Movie is directed by a duo called Daniels. They directed a movie called Swiss Army Man that came out back in, I think, 2015, 2016. If you've never seen it, it's an amazing movie. Daniel Radcliffe is a corpse that farts and burps his way into all of our hearts. Paul Dano is a suicidal
Homer Simpsons is way into all of
that
that.
cries his way into our hearts during that movie. And Everything Everywhere All at Once is just incredible. Like, the movie is just the greatest. It's so good. Like, it's hard to even talk about because it's just that good of a movie. It's about an Asian family with a husband and wife who are running a failing laundromat. And basically the wife, who is played by the amazing Michelle Yeoh, is sort of, kind of like, she feels like she's, made all the wrong decisions throughout her life. And, consistently, wondering kind of what her life probably would have been like. They also have a daughter who is a lesbian who doesn't really get along with the mother so much because the mother is very, strict Asian mom.
Very
Traditional
traditional.
values Asian mom, yeah. And so there's this tension, the husband and the wife, who the husband is played by, I can't remember his name because all I know him as is Data from the Goonies and Short Round from Indiana
Has a
Jones.
real name. His name is Data.
It's Data. He corrects the mom in the Goonies where she calls him Data and he's like, Data. So it's Data.
Honestly, when Chris is the one that told me that afterwards, I was like, man, at first I was like, I'm not, it's like, I don't know, this guy seems kind of like a throwaway character or whatnot. By the time you're done watching this movie, you are like in love with how sweet of a human being this guy is and how like fucking great he is. And like, dude, Chris is like, oh yeah, he was Data and fucking the Goonies. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like definitely, like I don't think there's one character in this movie that is wasted. Like
Oh
as
no, everyone.
as epic, and it is epic. Like holy fucking shit, is this movie epic in scale? Sorry, I wasn't trying to like interrupt in your.
No, you're fine. And so they are in. So because the laundromat is failing, they go to an IRS agent who is played by the great Jamie Lee Curtis, who has trophies that all look like butt plugs, which will come back into the movie later. And um, and while they're and
Yep,
while
they come
they're
into play.
and while they're at
They're they're
the
relevant.
IRS office, Data uh, basically traverses the multiverse, and we get a different version of Data, who tells Michelle Yeoh's character like, "Hey, shit's going down. This is all you need to know." And the movie just kind of explodes from there, and it turns into a sci-fi, kung fu, family drama, literally everything.
Universe traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's pivotal. I mean, like you said, Jamie Lee Curtis at the very at when you in that when that first scene first starts when you see her and she's Michelle Yeoh's being audited by Jamie Lee Curtis, and it seems like it's not going to be that pivotal of a moment in the movie when the scene starts out. It just seems like, oh, this is just a part of her life. This is just a part of the plot. It becomes very apparent very soon that holy shit, this is all like Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be a fucking like a huge character, and the fact uh that she's being audited, uh it kind of plays into everything else, like in how like unstructured her life is, or how much of a mess her kind of life is, but she has everything she needs to make it. Like she has a great husband, she has a daughter who she's not 100% you know, as close as she probably should be with.
Mhm.
Um but her life is very much a mess, and I think that's what that scene kind of represents in a few ways.
Oh yeah.
But that's also where the plot picks up. All of a sudden, we go into an insane sci-fi story. We go into an alternate universe where Jamie Lee Curtis isn't an auditor. She's a fucking like killer, like cyborg or wherever the fuck she's supposed to be. She like bursts into a closet and kills her husband, and like it goes into it literally goes off the rails, but in the best way possible. Like
Mhm.
after that.
This this movie is beautiful. And this movie has some of the best fight choreography I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
great.
everything's
Um,
top notch. Like the fight choreography is easily like the best of like the last 10 years, like in any movie. And here's the thing that I love about this movie too. It's incredibly funny.
yeah,
And in one of the scenes, it's incredibly fucking funny. Like the comedy all works in this movie. But there's a fight scene about halfway in involving those phallic statues that involving like a genuinely well-made fight scene that had me like laughing harder than I have at like any movie, even like harder than like the Beavis and Butthead movie
Well, I love
this year.
I love the scene where I'm just gonna keep calling him Data for the rest of this episode, but I love the scene
Yeah, yeah,
Data starts. There's a scene where Data starts fighting a bunch of security guards, and I love the scene. And I remember when Chris and I were watching this movie, and we have a group chat to anyone that's watching. We have a group chat for our channel where Chris and I were literally like messaging back and forth about what part we were at in this movie. And I remember Corey, you being like, I don't even need to watch a trailer. I just need to read what you guys are saying and I'm already in.
yeah, dude. I mean, like, I mean, you guys weren't like being like overly, like, you weren't like necessarily spoiling it, but you were being
nah,
like, did he just fucking do that? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that enough, which as a movie fan, that's especially when like younger. Like that's what gets you excited for movies. Is like that guy just do fucking this, and that movie, like the whole. That's how like
That was
fucking Grindhouse
that
movies
was
back
happening.
in the day.
That was happening like every 5 minutes of this
Yeah.
fucking movie.
Well,
Like, you
dude,
just message and be
what
like,
a
yo, I just
fucking
got to this.
wild movie. I mean, for how Jesus Christ, dude, this movie, the first 10 minutes of it is so low key. Like, if you
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody anything about this movie, and you just said like, all right, start watching this, you would think it would be about an Asian immigrant patriarch, or like a mother of a family who has a bad relationship with her daughter and is about to divorce from her husband. You would think this would be like a sad drama in the first 10 minutes of this movie, and then it literally just shifts on its fucking head into fucking backward crazy zone, which
Let's
is
talk about the fact that
it's awesome.
the grandfather is played by the same man who was the villain in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
And
Oh, dude, a ton of other
like
movies too,
his
dude. Like especially from that era.
performance also was out of control. So good.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, dude, when he turns out to be the scene where it's revealed that her daughter, or a version of her daughter, who has essentially become entangled with the multiverse, like on a
Nobu
physical
Tadaki.
level, she, when that comes to be, and she, in one of the I'm sure one of you guys will describe it way better than I do, when she takes out a room of security guards and then confronts her mom. And essentially what I loved about that scene was, she's like, even this like ultra powerful multi-universe creature was like, you're seriously bothered by the fact that I'm into girls in this universe. That's like what's holding you back. Like when she had that line, I was like, okay, I get this so much more now. Like,
Oh, are you talking about the scene where the police batons turn
yeah.
into dildos?
Yeah, the most wild fucking. She like sees her daughter. She's like, "Wait, why do you look so stupid?"
Yeah, like
The humor of this movie is so on point.
Dude, it's a
it's
great
so
scene.
great.
It's
The
such a great scene. Like in terms of like action and like how it, there's dildos used as weapons. There's a security guard turned into Hispanic dancer, basically turned, like, bases him in like a hookah dress and shit, and like in the middle of a fight, and like you see him getting killed. Like it's a very, very cool and unique fight scene, but it kind of ends with a little bit of explanation into what the fuck is like going on here.
mhm.
Like, because you can see there's a lot of again, like it's supposed to be like every version of her like daughter, like in a very tortured villain, like when you
Oh
think
yeah.
about it. Uh but she like very much like despises her mother in a lot of ways, but has like that moment where it's like, just so I get this straight, you're mad that I'm like, I like girls in this world, and like so many other things. It's like, wow, you are so fucking like, like almost like she pities her mother,
Oh yeah.
like because for who she is, like at that moment. The mother does. I mean, Michelle Yeoh, like she fucking grows as a character throughout this. But like you were saying though, the bad guy from Big Trouble in Little China, like a version of him shows up in a wheelchair and just like knocks her out, and like that is one of the funniest moments in the movie for me. Where I forgot what the hell did they call him in the movie though? Like he's a
That I don't. I think they.
did Chris just go catatonic? Oh no, sorry. No,
I'm sorry, I'm really high.
no,
But
like the scene. Yeah, me too. The scene though, like where the bad guy from Big Trouble in Little China, he like shows back up, but it's like the new version of him, like, and he just like knocks her out with his wheelchair, and he's like,
yeah,
"Hey, it's me." He's like, "Hey, it's me." It's like, dude, that is like, oh my god, I laughed so fucking hard. And I think like the midsection of this movie is so fucking funny, like
it
all of
is.
it. Like to be
It really
honest,
is.
it does take the more serious approach towards the end, even though there is some comedies spread throughout. But it's all very balanced and kind of a really brilliant way. I gotta
Oh
say,
yeah.
like the comedy, the seriousness, the I think yeah, it's like you guys were saying, like it is kind of perfectly made.
It's like a perfect movie, honestly.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like one of the things, like we talk a lot about like the fight choreography, and one of the things that I like is that like really none of the fight scenes are ever really the same. Like you have the first fight scene with Data fighting all the security guards, which is a very like it's a very like it feels like an old Jackie Chan like kind of martial arts sort of fight.
Yeah,
And then
Jackie Chan or Jet Li.
yeah. Well, I say Jackie Chan because there is a lot of like props that he used, like the fanny pack and stuff like that. Um,
Oh man, the
and
best.
then, um, and then the fight scene with Michelle Yeoh and one of the security guards, where they're basically fighting over the butt plug, and like she's trying to like make sure that like this security guard doesn't sit on it. Um, that was a
Guard.
totally different
It,
fight scene.
it
Um,
it it does look it does a classic 80s action trope where it
mhm,
introduces another villain to make
yeah,
it harder.
and he's got a
And
plunger
then they're
sticking out
both
his
trying to
ass.
stick it up their ass. Like
Yeah.
it's like a classic like Van Damme action scene, only she's like you said, dude, it's like it's so good. Like how like you would think like on paper, like that sounds ridiculous, but it's like wow, that's like whoever choreographed it, like put a fucking like,
Yeah.
put their fucking
Also,
heart into it.
Michelle Yeoh is one of the best martial artists in movies.
For
She
sure.
was in I remember when Jackie Chan like blew up after they put like Rumble in the Bronx in the theaters. They came out with Super Cop, and Michelle Yeoh is in Super Cop. I mean, amongst a ton of fucking like martial arts movies, but she's definitely in Super Cop, and she fucking kills it in that, dude. She's so goddamn good,
Love
so good.
I love not knowing that either Rumble of the Bronx and Super Cop were like necessarily like just kind of dubbed like martial arts movie from like the East, and like watching them for the first time like that kind of threw. I mean, like in a good way, it kind of like introduced me to that. Like the first time I saw Super Cop, like one of the first times that like he's fighting like the trainer for like the local police force. He's like, "Oh, Super Cop, you must be very strong." It's like,
Yo, Super Cop is actually Police Story 3.
yeah, I remember the first police story, and it's nothing like Super Cop. Like
I
that's like
have
the or
I have the criterion of one and part two, and then Super Cop is actually Police Story 3, and it's weird because it's
oh,
definitely not anything like
but
the other two.
the first one was like Danny Aiello, right? Or
No,
like he was like his partner in
that's a different movie.
Cop Story. Okay, no, no,
Cop
wow,
Story,
sorry,
yes. Cop
I'm
Story
Cop
is with
Story.
Danny Aiello,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm always mistaking cops. They all look alike.
Yeah, isn't that weird? I forgot. And now I'm like, wow, those names are very similar. Like, hey, quick, give me another name for Police Story. Cop Story,
Police
boss.
Story, Cop
All right, got it. Cop Story it is.
Story. I don't-
Yeah, but
no, I just said that was the idea for it.
Michelle Yeoh, this movie is like full of people that have been so many good things. Like Michelle Yeoh is a fucking like international fucking martial arts superstar. But here she is, 2022, making this. James Hong, he was in a few couple John Carpenter movies, done countless other things, and fucking Data from The Goonies. It's incredible, dude. This cast is good.
Oh shit!
Everybody in this movie,
Sorry,
hey, how you doing? Uh,
I think I'm good.
everybody in this movie
Yeah,
fucking acts their ass off.
yeah.
This movie's so fucking perfect, man.
Well, I
Well,
think
can I just say like Mark pretty much like nailed it earlier, but again, this
as I
movie's
do.
about a very like restricted and like like a mother, like a female patriarch of her family who doesn't feel like she's done like anything with her like life. She has a
Right.
very strained like relationship with her daughter. And again, like, dude, just as a drama, this probably could have worked, but the insane direction that it goes in, and it's kind of beautiful, like, really, by the time we
Very
get
much
to
so.
the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, because she's very much like, as much as I've shit like to her daughter, like the like what I've taken away from it, it's like as much as I've shit on your lifestyle, like oh giving you shit like oh you're getting fat, you need to fucking lose, all that shit. Like for all of that, she's very much like, hey, I will even through the fucking multiverse, I will never stop fucking like caring for
Right.
you. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
you'll
yeah.
always be my fucking life. And that oh like dude that I like genuinely like cried at the end of this movie. Like how
Yeah.
fucking like
Well,
good of a message that is. Like
You
how
it's
didn't
good
think
of
you'd
like
be you
fucking
didn't think you'd be crying at the end of a movie that has
yeah.
dildo weapons, did you?
Yeah, that has a fucking fight of a woman trying to prevent two guys from sticking dildos up their asses to gain more power.
yeah. I mean, I think that's sort of the beauty of this movie in that it can be just pure insanity and make you just laughing your ass off, like when Data subtly quotes "Story of a Girl,"
Yeah.
or when Data is fighting the security guards and one of the security guards is just like, Greg, fuck, and then he gets the shit kicked out of him, or little things like that. But then at the end of the movie, when they're in a different universe and Data is talking to Michelle Yeoh's character, and he's just like, in another life I would have been happy just doing taxes with you. It's like it is able to balance and able to teeter totter itself so perfectly that
Mhm.
this movie gets so insane where Michelle Yeoh and her daughter are rocks looking out over a
Oh
cliff,
yeah.
and or they're
Oh.
pinatas and they're talking to each other as pinatas and fighting, or they have hot dog fingers, and Michelle
Oh, the hot
Yeoh's in a
Isn't
lesbian
that
relationship with
the
Jamie Lee
funniest
Curtis
part
and
of
they have
this
hot
movie?
dog fingers, like
The funniest part of this movie is
hot
her
dog.
in the laundromat with hot dog fingers, and Jamie Lee Curtis approaches her and is like, "Oh, I love this part in this movie." And Michelle Yeoh freaks out at the sight of her, and then she starts freaking out like, "Oh, why are you doing this to me?
mhm.
Why do you?" Dude, I probably that's probably the hardest I laughed in this entire fucking movie. Just at the what the fucking
Yeah.
fuck is happening?
But at the
Like,
same time, it still makes you at the end of the movie, like
yeah,
you said, I think all three of us, like at the end of the movie, like I was crying, like full
yeah.
on, like I
Even
was like
that,
this movie had me in tears, like whether it was in tears from
even
laughing or
that
in tears from just how beautiful and emotional things were.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
dude, even that relationship, that whatever alternate reality relationship with her and Jamie Lee Curtis, sausage finger or hot dog fingers,
mhm.
like seems to have kind of like a real dramatic like arc to it
Oh
in a
yeah,
weird way. Like so,
like
it's like you said, like it's all kind of beautiful. I
oh
mean,
yeah. Like I think one of my favorite scenes of the movie is after sort of fighting in kind of like that like sort of courtyard fountain area, and Data yells at everyone and is like, please stop fighting, and so Michelle Yeoh goes up these stairs and just touches people, and they turn into like these amazing beautiful versions of themselves. Like a
yeah,
cop and this other woman just start making out after they were fighting. One guy is there was another guy who complimented Michelle Yeoh's perfume because it smelled like his late wife's, and she like does something that makes him remember his late wife, and it's beautiful. And it's just this thing of this scene on paper is ridiculous, but how the two Daniels were able to craft this scene was so unbelievably beautiful and heartwarming. And then, at the end when Michelle Yeoh and um, her daughter are talking outside the laundromat, and her daughter is just like, "Leave me alone! Like we are not, like you and I are just not good." and Michelle Yeoh is like, doesn't matter. Like, I'm your mom. I'm always gonna love you. And I think it's just
That's such a beautiful scene.
yeah, it's so beautiful, and like as you said,
Very
like the
much
movie
so.
itself is just gorgeous looking. Like
Yeah.
how it's filmed, color palette that they use, and how each universe feels so much different. Like I think if you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this I don't mean to shade Doctor Strange, but if you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then you go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness,
You're gonna be
it's kind of
disappointed.
like, oh, this is not the multiverse movie of the
Yeah.
year. Like Everything
That had
Everywhere All at
well,
Once is.
well, dude. I'll put it this way. Uh, Everything Everywhere All at Once exists in the multiverse. There's not a scene in this movie that isn't like particularly like original from the one you just saw, especially towards the end. Multiverse of Madness was just kind of like, all right, there's a few sequences where it's like, oh man, we're paint now. Oh man, we're you know what, and it's very quick and it's
Very
very
quick.
don't get me wrong, I really liked Multiverse of Madness. I
Yeah,
thought that was like a cool Sam Raimi like fucking movie. I thought that was really a
but
pretty
that's the
cool
thing,
like
and you
flick.
just
I
said it
probably
right
even
there.
liked it better than the first Doctor Strange. But like again, this is so if you're talking about a multiverse movie, this movie just uh dwarfs it in
Well,
so many ways imaginable.
but that's the thing, and you just said it. It's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a Sam Raimi movie. Everything
Yeah.
Everywhere All at Once is a multiverse movie. And it does multiverse perfectly in the way that it gives you just enough explanation to know what's going on, to understand that, like, all right, in order to multiverse hop, you have to do something really weird, like chew on lipstick, yeah, chew on lipstick,
How,
or, shove a butt plug up your ass, one of those.
how I was sorry, I was just gonna say how cool is that though when you don't because when you first see him like bite the chapstick, it's like what the fuck is he doing? And then
Mm,
like by halfway like through the movie, you're like, oh, I get it now. I get it. I get it. Like
yeah. All right, so
it's
hold on
the
1 second. We're gonna end this, and then I'm gonna call you guys right back.
Okay.
okay.
Um, so I mean, yeah, it's just so I guess from there,
Septimi audio.
so from did you just say suck me audio?
No, I said accept me audio,
Oh, I was like,
but
what?
also audio. In case I wasn't clear. Well, no, I
So
was doing that shit where it's like I clicked it 3 times. And it's like, come on, accept me.
so let's go to our our I guess our favorite scene of the movie. Like, what is the one scene that to you just like stands out above the rest?
Mine is absolutely when this movie flips a switch, which is the fanny pack fight. My
Yeah,
favorite scene in this whole
that's
movie,
awesome.
for
Just a
sure.
dude. Talk. I mean, talk about when the movie like goes from absolutely. This movie does not stop going from one thing to another, but the first time it initially does that, go like from one like what you think is going on to another like in such a great and like glorious way like it like you said earlier like fucking phenomenal fight choreography. I can talk, I swear to god. But no, like a great like fight scene in general, but also like a great like transition to everything else that's gonna happen, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. Hmm.
For sure. Um, I mean, I already said what my favorite scene was. It was that scene with Michelle Yeoh going up the escalator and basically changing everyone for the better. So I
I don't
guess
know.
um, this movie is actually this movie just crossed $100 million worldwide, which is officially. I mean, it was already official a couple of weeks ago, but it is A24's highest grossing film ever, which we talked about it a couple weeks ago. A24 is my favorite studio. So,
No way.
How much did it
I
actually
know, right? Like, who would have thought? But
how much did it actually cost to make though?
let's
It
find
couldn't
out,
have.
shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Um, but I mean,
I mean, if it turned out it had like a decent sized budget, or if it had like a super small budget, neither would surprise me. It's kind of
Well,
one
it's
of those.
A24, so it automatically has a pretty small budget. 25 million.
Oh yeah, 100. Yeah,
Okay,
okay, all right. Yeah,
so they made
that's
this
a
with
it's
25
a wee
million,
bit of a profit.
and there have been movies that have come out that have cost like triple that and looked terrible.
You know,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A24 knows its shit though in terms of that. I mean, like for all its faults, like A24 is just like any other film company. I think this has been an awesome fucking year for them. I'm even like really like kind of pumped to see that new slasher they have coming out called Bodies,
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 Bodies.
bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. Again, like I think they're kind of on a really right track. 'Cause for the longest time, like even their like really good stuff, like I really liked Hereditary. I really liked Midsummer, and then I really liked Green Room. But at the same time, like a lot of their stuff is kind of like like Lamb was kind of for me. It wasn't exactly my cup of tea. Uh,
You watch your A24 slander.
I do, yeah.
It
I'm
comes at
sorry,
night is one that
but
comes to
I'm
mind,
just saying. You know what I
and
mean?
it's
Like some
okay,
of
but it's not very good.
Well,
some,
it comes
It's
at
like
night was mismarketed
for
like
me, it's for
crazy.
me, it's like
mm,
for me, it's like
it's not. I'm
this.
not
It's
saying it's
not
not
like
good. I'm
it's not
just
a
saying it's not.
terrible movie. It's not a
It's
bad
not this.
movie. It's just not great.
It's not this. Here, put it this way. It's not the seat for my ass. That's not saying it's not the seat for somebody else's ass. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
Okay.
not.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
not.
Yeah,
Here's the
100%. I agree.
thing. Like A24 for any complaints that either me or anybody else has about them, let's not fucking not pretend that they haven't produced some of the best horror in the last however many years.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that
But
there's no changing that. Or best independent films in general
it,
in the
it comes
past
at
however
night
many.
isn't a bad movie. It just looks like every other
Sure.
movie with that subject. Like
Yeah.
they didn't do
I
anything
was
new.
very sad after watching it.
Huh?
It like I said, I was very sad after watching it. I was like, I
Yeah.
actually liked all the characters, and it just ends with them all kind of fucking
Yeah.
dying. So
But like
very
it
sad.
does
But I
the
mean,
same
that was the
thing
point.
that it does the same thing that every other movie with that sort of setup does. There's nothing like
Yeah,
there's nothing new thrown in there.
yeah.
It just becomes another one of those movies. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's just that it's what it is,
I
you
mean,
know.
A24 is kind of a godsend in a lot of ways when it comes to like
Yeah,
movies nowadays, because it's like these are like whether they're gonna like be remembered as good, remembered as bad, or remembered at all. Like it's fucking art, dude. Like it's you're getting something different. You're not getting the usual Blumhouse shit,
I'm
which
gonna
is
be
like a fucking refresher. It's very
I'm gonna be
refreshing.
honest. I know that they're doing something good because if I watch a trailer or see anything and that A24 comes across the screen, my attention is had. You have my attention.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
yeah,
see what
yeah,
you
yeah.
got
Absolutely.
because I know they come with really good movies at least 90% of the time.
Well,
Yeah, you're in for quality.
Yeah.
yeah, like they're A24 movies, whether they're objectively good or not, they all feel sincere, which I think as a moviegoer, that's what I think you care about the most is did the people involved in this care about what they're doing?
Mhm.
Does it feel like they have this story that they want to tell? So whether or not, you're a fan of Midsummer or The Witch or anything, there's a lot of people that don't like The Lighthouse, which I perfectly understand. But you can't say that with that movie, you don't feel the sincerity in everything that's on screen. And I think
For
that's
sure.
why, and that's definitely why A24, I mean, that is why A24 is my favorite, is because all their movies feel not just original, but feel very sincere to who these,
Well, all
artists and
these
creators
movies,
are.
trust me, like a lot of these movies, whether you talk about the pacing, whether you're into them or not, whether you think they're scary, none of them have not had their heart and soul put into them by their fucking creators,
Oh,
like
yeah.
their directors or writers. Like, trust me, you will never trust me. None of them are lazy,
No.
Right.
which is the biggest problem I think for a lot of like studios releasing horror. Like occasionally you'll get This is why I'm not like super big into like. Not that I'm not big into it. Like, if there's a good looking horror movie coming out, I'll fucking definitely check it out. Like Nope, Freaky, like there's so many like movies are kind of guaranteed to be like at least entertaining, but there's so many coming out now that are like, this can potentially be garbage. You
I'm
know,
honestly
just
so
from the first
desperate. I'm
viewing.
honestly so desperate now. I'll watch any horror movie. Like if I look at if I can
Mm,
tell by the cover, it's gonna be like have sort of have a budget, and it has like a somewhat interesting premise. I'll fucking watch it.
Mhm.
Like
If it has if it has
sometimes
a
even if I
quality
know,
aspect to it,
sometimes even if I
will
know
do
if
because
it's
there's a
gonna be
lot of shit coming out.
like I don't care.
Like there's one I haven't watched it yet, but I saw it on Amazon Prime. It's called fucking American Carnage. I haven't watched it, but it's got what's her face, Jenna Ortega in it, who was in X and the last Scream
yeah.
movie.
Mhm.
Like fucking gorgeous looking. But she was like awesome in both movies. So with
Yeah.
that, I was like, I'll maybe give it a watch. But then I've fallen into that trap before, where it's like, all right, this actor or actress was in a solid horror movie, and then she appears in something I've never heard of, and then it turns out to be like,
Yeah.
maybe not so good.
Guys,
I don't know. It's
we're
keep the fucking
talking about
genre alive.
talking about shit like this. Did you know that there's a horror movie on Shudder directed by Rob Zombie's brother, the front man of Power Man 5000?
The Devil's Rejects 5000.
It's called Allegoria, and it Scout Taylor Compton's in it.
Wait, I like her actually. She wasn't,
Yeah, I like her too. But uh,
wasn't any good.
I started watching it, but I only got like 20 minutes in, and it's like an anthology.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
I don't know. It was fucking kind of
it's
weird. It's in the
like what?
music. It's like wildly unsettling. But I was not
Are you ready
mad
to
at it.
go? 'Cause I'm ready to go.
Yeah, this is what it's like when worlds collide.
Yeah, apparently.
This is what it's like.
The
This
original
is what
working
it's like
title
when
for it,
nepotism
when worlds collide.
collides.
It's like sorry. It's like sorry, dude. There's already been multiple movies called Worlds Collide. We can't get the rights to
Um.
it.
All right.
So, the Daniels just signed an exclusive 5-year contract with Universal. Um. So, what would you like to see from Daniels for
Masters
the
of the
next one?
Universe.
If they did something epic, like I'm not, because I could easily say like with zero hesitation, like you're gonna think I'm joking when I say this, like something like Thundercats or something, like you know what I mean? Like
So I said Masters of
I
the
don't
Universe.
think
Yeah,
they
I
I
I feel like
don't
they
think
can make
they
those good. Like
throw if
something.
you threw them like yeah, if you threw them something fantastical, I think they'd pull something really, really fucking quality out.
I
If you're talking about like their artistic like vision, it'd probably be something like more similar to everything everywhere. Like,
yeah,
like I don't think they go in that
if
direction.
they
It
have
would be
I want
interesting.
I want like three original pictures from them, and then I want them to do like Masters of the Universe or Thundercats because I think they could take. They know I saw what they did in this movie, and I think they can do things for like Thundercats or Masters of the Universe that other people haven't been able to do and make it work. It's
Yeah.
not that I want to see them direct like some kind of fucking animated franchise from the 80s like everybody else does. It's just that I think they could do something really good with it. But I also
Yeah.
want to see more original content from them for sure. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Uh,
you got to take into consideration though, dude. They do action, story, drama, and everything like on a masterful level. So, I mean, from a filmmaker studio or like from like a producer's like vantage point, I'd be like, holy shit, these guys could do anything. You know?
I would like to see them I'd like to see them do a horror movie. Honestly, I'd like to see
Yeah,
like I'd
They
like to
could.
see what they do with like I'm trying to think of like
let's give them
universe.
Hellraiser.
No,
Yeah.
Hellraiser's already got 2 reboots coming.
For you, Hulu, we're taking it
Is that
over.
like
Michelle
freaking?
Yeoh's the new Pinhead.
I'd like to see them do like one of like the older kind of like Universal. Like I'd like to see someone get like the Wolfman right, or
Sure.
I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
Wait a
I
minute.
feel like they would do a really good job with Frankenstein.
You mean
Honestly,
you mean Benicio del Toro didn't do the Wolfman right?
Am I the only one who didn't think like I watched that and I was like, all right, it's gory enough. I don't have like a hard on for the original Wolfman. Like it was fine when I watched it the first time, and then I watched it again. And I was like, oh, this is why nobody likes this movie. Like, because I mean, it was gory enough, and it was like kind of fun to watch. Like,
well, but
I
that's the
the,
thing
the
though is that I don't like. To me it's not about the gore. It's like I want I the reason why I want Daniels to do either Frankenstein or the Wolfman is because I feel like they would do a really good job at being able to balance the horror and the heart that is in those movies.
they
But
would
if
do a
you're
good
able to make it
movie, like
scary,
because I'm not trying to argue in a million years that that Wolfman remake was a good movie because it was not. But I was just saying like it was kind of a fun watch. But the yeah, like you're saying, like if they introduced him to like you said, either Frankenstein, the Wolfman, uh, I like when people talk about remaking a creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't think anyone's making anything better than the Shape of Water. Like to be honest with you, because that was creature from the Black Lagoon essentially, like in a
yeah,
really like dramatic
yeah. Um,
yeah, like so, but like you said, maybe yeah, if you're doing classic, but dude, they fuck it up so fucking badly. Like I think
yeah.
the best like remakes of these like old classic like monsters, like I really like the
Invisible
Brandon
Man.
Fraser Mummy remake,
Oh well,
the
yeah,
first one.
but those
They
are
went
I
a
saw
action
different
that in the
direction with it.
theaters.
Like, they
You
didn't
can
just
argue. I'm
do.
not arguing it's a good movie, but it was
No,
a
they're
fun movie to
fun.
watch
They're
in like a
fun, yeah.
theater for a
But
lot of people.
the Mummy remakes are action movies, and I think that's the
Yeah,
Yeah,
problem with
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of these Universal remakes is that
They're
they're
not scary
so
enough.
much. They're not scary. They're not horror movies.
Yeah,
So I feel
yeah,
like if you took Daniels and you gave it the aesthetic that like Swiss Army Man had, not the
yeah,
tone, but like just like the visual aesthetic of it, and you
yeah,
did Wolfman that aesthetic and put horror elements in while still being about this guy who's struggling with change, or if you do Frankenstein about this creature who wants to be human, or even if you do like Phantom of the Opera. If they did a remake of Phantom of the Opera, I have no doubt in my mind that they would kill it because I feel like they would be able to do sort of the weird kind of fantastical, strange, surrealistic kind of point of view that Phantom of the Opera has, while still having the heart and the love story of this man who is obviously deformed, who hides underneath the opera house. I feel like they would be able to do. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite horror movies ever, the Lon Chaney one. And I just think they would do great. Or even like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I feel like anything that has this
well, I
weird
mean,
fantastical
if
element.
you told, if you said like even like 5 years ago, like, oh, they're gonna remake a version of the Invisible Man, and it's actually gonna be really fucking good. Most people would probably be like, or like upon hearing that would be like, oh yeah, right, dude, that movie seems boring as shit. Like, and
I
then it came out and it's like dude, if you didn't like it, like I mean, I'm not like knocking anyone's opinion for not liking it, but personally, like how better of like a version of like that story could you have had, like
Oh
of
yeah,
this
for sure.
original like universal, I mean, it was like a universal monster, and this it's a very human fucking monster, uh but like the I think that's kind of cool though that you can come out with movies like that in this kind of modern age.
For sure.
And don't get me wrong, if somebody's like, "Oh, dude, I thought the Invisible Man was boring as shit" or whatever, it's like I'm not gonna argue with you on that. Like it is what it is. Like, I liked it personally, but
I mean, I feel like if they're doing these kinds of movies, they did that Mummy movie with Tom Cruise. They were trying to make some sort of new universe, like with that Dracula Untold. But like, if you're making a Universal Monsters universe, like maybe take the material that was there and make that like, or like put your spin on it, not like a fucking drastic spin where we get uh the Invisible Man. Not that I didn't like the movie, but it is like a fucking one of those movies from the 90s where like Julia Roberts' husband is extremely violent and she tries to do all these tricks to get away from him, or then she has to kill him. Like, it's the fucking Invisible Man. The guy fucking was like experimenting and he became invisible. Like, work with it. Not, oh, he's fucking crazy and wants to beat his wife. Like, and then the Mummy movie, I've never even seen that. It just looks like a goddamn mess. And
yeah, I've heard it's like trying to be fun, but it's not. But like you said, like if I were like a very jaded fan and watched that Invisible Man movie, I was like, oh, it's like The Accused if the pinball machine became sentient and then became invisible. Really original filmmakers.
it's like
But
Sleeping with the Enemy, or like one that movie with
Sleeping with the
Jennifer
Enemy.
Lopez. That movie where
I mean,
Jennifer Lopez, where
it
she
was
like
good though. Like,
trains to be a boxer and beats up her ex husband because he's a fucking
yeah.
racist.
I mean, it was good though. Like really
Oh
well
yeah, it was
acted.
fucking great
Like,
actually. I fucking really
uh,
liked it, to be honest.
I did too, but like when people talk about like, oh man, it was kind of boring. It's like, you're not really like. Some people like horror movies, and some people love them, and like I think those are just kind of the people that just kind of like, hey, a new movie came out, I'll watch it, like one of those types.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Any anything else? Anything else on the old Everything Everywhere All at Once? You want to wrap up the movie with any last words on it?
Well, yeah, to all of like the 8 people that watch our videos, we say
Hey,
watch.
I think we had some more this week. I think the
Maybe,
last episode had a few more people than
maybe,
8. I
um,
think man. I think we're moving up.
maybe. I know Houses October Built is still our highest viewed episode,
Yeah, definitely.
but but yeah, you know,
the episode October is built.
but yeah, the movie is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll make you say what the fuck is going on in the best way possible. The
And
acting
to make you
across the
feel
board is
very good afterwards after going through. I felt very. I had like that moment of like, oh,
yeah. Um
good.
yeah, it's just it's an amazing movie. As Chris said, I can't imagine by the end of the year that this won't be my favorite movie of the year because it's just I mean, it's a perfect movie.
And it's been a good year of movies so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah. So I guess, with that, this was the season 2 finale of the film section. Um, Chris and Corey are gonna start back up the Talk and Schlock connection because I got some stuff
Yeah.
that I want to finish up and make sure that I get out on time because I am sort of on a deadline with myself. But I'm still going to be editing their videos, and those edits will be a little bit better and funnier than these ones.
Mark thinks we're.
I still remember what movie we left off on. We have to watch Vamp and then talk about Vamp.
Starring
So,
Robert Russell.
yes, at some point this week I will watch that, and then we'll figure out a day somewhere in the middle of the week to do a new Talk and Schlock episode, and we'll try to get them regular and until we come back for season 3 of the film section.
Yep. So thank you, anyone and everyone that has watched our videos. Talk and Schlock will be back in the fall. Thanks.
Yeah.